This is Uebert Angel. He may think he's meeting a Hong Kong mafia boss. If he looks nervous, it's because he may be trying to cut a $1.2 billion deal to smuggle gold out of Zimbabwe. But Angel is secretly being recorded by journalists. When Aljazeera released the story in 2023, Zimbabwe was shocked. Would Angel be investigated and end up in jail? The nation held its breath. You'd be forgiven for thinking Angel is an African crime boss. In fact, he's a pastor turned diplomat. From humble beginnings in rural Zimbabwe, Angel has become a superstar. He has constantly been dogged by scandals and accusations, but nothing seems to have stopped him. A career with multiple identities, name changes, and relocations. This is the story of how a small-town preacher became an alleged billion-dollar gold smuggler. As of this date, if you go on Wikipedia, you will find this in Angel's biography. It raises so many questions. How did he get to the UK? Why did he leave? Angel's life is full of stories behind stories. At some point in 1978, his different passports have different dates. Uebert Mudzanire was born in Zaka, Masvingo, a small town in southern Zimbabwe. Like most small African towns, it had its fair share of churches. In a rural backwater, far from Zimbabwe's economic hub, religion was a door to the wider world. From this point to 2000, Uebert's life is a bit of a mystery. He wasn't famous enough to appear in any media reports. He started a small church in his home and moved to the bustling capital city of Harare. It was there he met and married Beverly in 2000. A few years later, the couple moved to the UK, where Beverly completed a finance degree at the University of Salford, near Manchester. It was during his time in the UK Uebert started his Spirit Embassy Church, targeting the African diaspora. Uebert preached a prosperity gospel message, emphasizing the right kind of prayer and giving will lead God to bless you. But he didn't always have the wealth to back up these claims. Why wasn't he driving a Bentley and living in a mansion? Uebert's big break came on his return to Zimbabwe. The 2010s were the time of the new prophets, flashy young preachers who promised wealth to their followers and claimed to be connected to politicians and businessmen. Uebert fit right in. His time in the UK made him exotic and important. He adopted a new persona, Uebert Angel, a wealthy, stylish and spiritually powerful man. Most important were the new friends. Angel worked with the young Zimbabwean prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa. Both supported each other's claims to spiritual power. At a birthday party in 2012, they auctioned off their clothes to followers, selling old socks and t-shirts for thousands of dollars. Angel also forged connections with powerful politicians. Philip Chiangwa, a businessman connected to Zimbabwe's ruling ZANU-PF party, reportedly helped pay the rent for the huge church Angel was using in Harare. More funds helped him start a religious TV show. Miracle TV hit the news as Angel claimed to be able to make miracle money appear out of nowhere. The show was so successful that he began to make a tour of southern Africa. Crowds in Botswana, Zambia and South Africa flocked to attend miracle money crusades, hoping some money might materialize out of nowhere. But he made enemies as well as friends. His prophecy that Liverpool would win the Premier League was published by Supersport, but when this turned out to be wrong, he tried to sue the company for defamation. Angel rubbed lots of people the wrong way. He promised a businessman that God would give him more cars and money if the man donated his $300,000 Bentley to him. When the blessings failed to materialize, Angel became locked in a court case, with the man demanding the return of the car. Meanwhile, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe governor took issue with the appearance of miracle money in people's bank accounts. Angel found himself accused of fraud and money laundering. To help weather the storm, he turned to his political allies. But despite prophesying victory for ZANU-PF, Angel found himself increasingly isolated. And then Zimbabwean police said they wanted to interview him about the missing car. Angel left Zimbabwe for the UK. Apparently he had a brain tumour, which he had been battling for months, but which now needed top medical treatment. He left behind a fractured image, claims to have raised 29 people from the dead, whilst at the same time to be on the Forbes rich list. A miracle worker and entrepreneurial genius, now compromised by accusations from all sides. It was a mess. Back in the UK, the church rebranded. Uebert and Beverly opened several companies and charities, many later closing. They made a speculative appeal for asylum to Ireland. But with his Zimbabwe experience behind him, Angel was more successful at the church business. It was around this time that Angel began working with the man who would later appear alongside him in the gold smuggling video. Ricky Doolan, a homeless rock singer from Middlesbrough with a dramatic conversion story. Doolan became a worship leader in Good News Church, then a pastor, and finally a personal assistant to Angel. He later sealed the deal by marrying Angel's niece. Angel started wearing his military-style uniforms and requesting followers call him Major. And then, a series of strange things happened all at the same time. In 2021, the online news outlet Zim-I reported Angel was allegedly being investigated by the UK police for a series of accusations made by female congregants. Zim-I claimed Angel was also using people posing as fake doctors to verify his miracles. Like so many stories, it's hard to know what to believe. These stories are not corroborated by other news outlets, but Zim-I went so far as to suggest Angel was fleeing back to Zimbabwe to escape an investigation. Angel did arrive in Zimbabwe in 2021, but he didn't act like a man on the run. Much had changed since 2015. Mugabe, who had never really liked him, was dead. The country's new president, Mnangagwa, adopted a pro-Angel policy. Court documents from Zimbabwe show it was only at this point Angel and his wife formally changed their names. Things needed to be tight and clean. Things were getting official. Angel donated several tons of food to a charity run by President Mnangagwa's wife. And then, during a ceremony at State House, Mnangagwa appointed Angel as an ambassador. The man who people whispered might be arrested by the Zimbabwean government was now part of it. Angel declined a salary, but was given a large government office and claimed he saw his job as focused on encouraging business to invest in Zimbabwe. Things seemed to be going well. Angel would secure investment and then invite Mnangagwa to open the building. But in 2023, things seemed to fall apart again. The Aljazeera gold smuggling documentary released, and it looked bad. Very bad. In the documentary, Angel appeared to offer to use his diplomatic status to illegally move gold and money in and out of Zimbabwe. Perhaps the most damaging thing for Angel was being caught talking about the president himself. A politician wants to open something. Gold is easy, but there is nowhere to cut a ribbon. He suggested they use some of the money to invest in property at Victoria Falls to keep President Mnangagwa happy. As the story broke, Angel suddenly announced he was flying to Dubai for a prophetic invasion. He remained there for several weeks. Meanwhile, in the UK, members of the House of Lords debated whether they should freeze Angel and Doolan's UK finances. The big question was, what would President Mnangagwa do? And then, it was suddenly announced that Angel had been appointed as the new ambassador for interfaith dialogue and humanitarian affairs by the African Union. Pictures appeared showing Angel sitting in the Pan-African Parliament, and very quietly, the Zimbabwean government's investigation faded away. Angel returned to Harare, and things seemed to be back to normal. And this forgetfulness was shared by the British press too. Ricky Doolan, Angel's assistant, appeared on BBC Radio Manchester to talk about his life as a musician. He was not questioned about the gold smuggling allegations made just a few months earlier. If anyone had any doubts things had not returned to normal, then the Good News Church Exodus night put those doubts to rest. Ricky leapt around the stage, singing his new single, Turn It Around, and then, to confirm that they had indeed turned around the situation, President of Zimbabwe, Emmerson Mnangagwa, made a live televised address to the conference stating that Zimbabwe is open for business. Only then did the Major, Prophet Angel, appear in his military-style uniform to the screaming crowd. In a country suffering from corruption and mismanagement, a simple message which connects faith and prosperity is powerful. Can anything stop Uebert Angel's unstoppable rise? We will have to wait and see. If you enjoyed this content and would like more, please subscribe to The Africa Review on YouTube.